This is being driven by Israel, and what we just heard was the President of the United States, in my assessment, almost saying word for word Israel's agenda.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, when Trump was running when he was running in 2024, did you think, I mean, he was talking about no new wars, right? Did you think that we had bombed how many, 8 countries now?
So eight countries, and before people were counting the Caribbean as they were saying he's bombed 8 countries, but the Caribbean was one of them. Caribbean's not a country, so now he's officially hit 8. By the way, that video was of Trump back when Obama was president.
Well,
He-
hold
Good.
on. Him bombing fishing vessels in the Caribbean
That-
from, well, I guess that it counts as the Venezuela. So yeah,
yeah,
8.
but
Okay.
technically, a couple of those vessels were also from Colombia. So I
Oh,
mean, we should
let's
be at
count
9. But anyhow, but that video was of Trump when Obama was president, like 2014, when Obama was trying to work out the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal. So,
Oh yeah.
so he's been talking about this for a while. But yeah, real quick, what you were talking about, I got some stuff to show you on this, but I went back to look, and all the lead up to the election in 2024, Trump and Vance were the pro peace ticket. Like they were the ones that were going to keep us out of no new wars, keep us out of
Yep.
forever wars. Kamala, if you elect Kamala, you're going to bring on World War III. She's going to attack all these countries. That's so weird to me because it's like, why Kamala? Kamala doesn't seem like a warmonger, but anyhow, the people bought it. And I was thinking back, I had a couple different people I know in my life that told me they're like, yeah, I'm voting Trump because of RFK and no new wars. Like that was like people that didn't really like Trump, but they were like, I like the Maha stuff, and I want to get out of the wars in the Middle East. So a lot of people said that, and it's going to be interesting to see who sticks to their guns and says, "Hey, I'm not down with this," and who just goes along with it. A lot of social media influencers in the past 24 hours have suddenly been like, "Yeah, Trump took a decisive action," and blah blah blah. Then you go back and you can find tweets of theirs from last year where they were saying, "Don't attack Iran," whatever.
Well, there was a period of time like leading up to the election where I was getting in arguments, like sitting at the bar getting in arguments with the person next to me.
That's
And
something
that was
only you
one
would
of the
do.
things that they brought up was no new wars. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great,
Mm.
but do you trust him?
Somehow people, and even like during his first term, we killed the Iranian general Soleimani or whatever. We did a lot of strikes. Like he never started a new war, but he struck a lot of countries with missiles. He struck Syria with like 55 Tomahawks at one point. So he did a lot of military strikes, but he didn't start a war in his first term, and that was good enough for most people, I guess.
I
So
feel like a military strike is kind of a war. It's a war. It's not a war, but it is an act of war.
yeah,
A
it,
military strike is a complete act of war. And if you cause an act of war, you basically provoked a war.
yeah, agree. I gotta say real quick, and I need to say this. We both need to admit that Bill O'Reilly was 100% correct on this. I don't know if you
On
remember,
what?
3 weeks ago, we were both waiting for us to attack Iran. We thought it was about to happen any day now. And then Bill
Uh-huh.
O'Reilly went on Chris Cuomo's show, and I played you the clip, and he was like, yeah, it's not going to happen for 3 weeks because the Olympics start tomorrow night, and he's not going to bomb them during the Olympics. And this gives us 3 weeks to move our carriers into position and get aircraft in the area. So he's going to
Okay.
wait till after the Olympics, and then he's going to do it. And he did it on the first Friday after the Olympics end. And you always start a war on a Friday. That's a hard rule. You give the stock markets 2 days to kind of calm down before the stock market opens back up on Monday. So
Yeah.
there's a reason you do it on a Friday. So he did it on the first Friday after the Olympics. Bill O'Reilly was 100% right there.
Okay, we'll give them that.
Yeah. Oh,
There's also the upcoming election or the upcoming vote in Congress about
yeah.
Congress actually having, which is already set in stone, right? Congress is the only one that can.
They hold the power to go to war or not go. And it all comes down to, do you call this a war or is this like a special military operation? Trump in his address last night flat out called it a war, but it doesn't matter. Congress doesn't want this responsibility. Like they're more than happy to give this to the president because they don't want to have to vote on it. They don't want to vote yes or no, so they're never going to fight to get this power back. Like it said, there's a couple of them that want to. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey were pretty much it. The rest of them don't want this. And real quick on the
But
Bill
it
O'Reilly
seems
being
like
right.
for the betterment of our country, we should have a vote on whether we go to war or not.
Oh,
And if we're going
I
to have the vote, we should let our elected representatives make that vote.
I agree. I'm just telling you it's not going to happen. They don't want that power. They've given it up happily. They don't want it. Real quick on the timing of this too. An Israeli official today on like three different channels. I don't know who the guy, I don't remember his name, but he's high up in the Israeli military. On like every channel he could go on, he said, "Oh yeah, this date was picked a couple weeks ago. Like we this date was set in stone, which means all the negotiations that were happening, they just negotiated on Thursday. On Thursday, both sides left and said it was a good negotiation. And then both sides also said that Iran is willing to give up way more than they gave up in the JCPOA, Obama's deal. So they were willing to
Hmm.
go above and beyond that. So things were looking good. It didn't matter. The negotiations were all a ruse to buy time. Our aircraft carrier, the one, I don't know if you saw, but it was coming across the Atlantic and all the toilets stopped working and were flooding. It was a whole thing. But it got slowed down. It had to stop in Crete to get some repairs done, and then it got into position Friday afternoon off the coast of Israel, and then we struck that night. So like this all came down to we were buying time to get our assets in place. The negotiations were never meant to work. It was just meant to buy time and to make them drop their guard. And oh, we had a pretty good meeting. There might not have to be any attacks, and then we hit them. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, so Trump had a better nuclear deal with them. They agreed to it. They were like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we'll do this with you," and then we bomb them anyway. So why are we bombing them? What's the reason? It's not the nuclear thing.
So,
I
do
mean,
you know what first of all, do you know what the U.S. is calling this operation? Like Desert Storm? Have you seen what they're calling it?
I heard it, but I forgot.
It's Operation Epic Fury. Now the internet has given it a different name, and I believe that this is the reason we are at war with Iran.
Operation Epstein. That's so good.
So, what a great cover up from all the things that are going on. Also, inflation ticked back up on Friday. On Friday, the stock market dropped 800 points right when the bell went off, but then it recovered and ended up like 600 down. But because inflation numbers ticked back up. Well, now if inflation goes up, you can say, well, yeah, obviously we're at war. Like when you're at war, like gas price, just so you know, gas prices today. Iran said that they are closing the Strait of Hormuz. They sent out a radio message to all the ships in the Persian Gulf and said, you're not allowed to go through the Straits of Hormuz. Just so you know, 25% of the world's oil flows through there on a daily basis. So they're saying that Monday morning, the price, and I don't think it's going to be this bad, but people are saying that the price of a barrel of oil is going to go up 50 to 70%
Oh
starting
shit.
Monday. Now, that doesn't mean that gas at the pump is going to go up because a lot of the cost has to do with refining and transportation of the oil. But Monday morning, if probably tomorrow, gas prices are going to go up. I'm going to say 20, 30 cents in the next couple of days. Like they're going to, maybe I hope I'm wrong, but gas prices are about to spike up and that'll cause overall inflation to spike up. But then Trump can say, well, oh, yeah, inflation's up, but it's because we're at war with Iran and they closed the Strait of Hormuz. Now I have to go in and finish the job to get them to open back up the Strait of Hormuz to bring inflation back down. So it's a great cover up for a couple different problems. The Epstein investigation, inflation's going back up. This is
Okay,
where
so you
you're
think it's
getting.
covering up, and do you think, I mean, I don't know if Trump really wanted to go to this war. Like, don't you think that this is more of a Israel thing?
I was giving him credit. Like I really was because he seemed to be trying to avoid the war. Netanyahu wanted so bad. Netanyahu and Lindsey Graham were trying so hard to get him to go along with this. And it seemed like he wasn't really down. It seemed like he was looking for an off-ramp to not go to war. And I was
Oh, and
getting,
Mike Huckabee, did you see
yeah,
his
Mike,
interview?
okay. The Mike Huckabee Tucker Carlson podcast could be a whole episode unto itself.
Sure.
But but it seemed like Trump was kind of getting ready to say no to Netanyahu, and maybe that was all a ruse too. Maybe he was trying to get kind of lull Iran to sleep so they weren't on guard to then attack them. But it seemed like he was not going to do it, and now it totally seems like it is. This is a good time to bring this up real quick. But Trump did an 8 minute speech in the middle of the night. First of all, for anybody living under a rock, Friday night, I was getting ready to go to bed at like midnight. And the last thing I did before I was going to bed is I opened up my phone and pulled out Twitter just to see what was going on. And like 10 minutes before that, the news broke that that Israel had just struck Iran. And at first it was that Israel struck Iran, and then it was Israel did it with help from the US, and then within a couple of minutes it became, oh no, this is a joint strike between Israel and the US. I called you right at that point and I was like, dude, it's on.
Yeah,
But I ended up being up that whole night.
me
Um,
too.
at what was it, like 3 in the morning? Trump releases a video of him giving an address. It was 8 minutes long. We're not going to play the whole thing, but I did want to play one specific part of it real quick. Check this video out.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
He's not wearing a tie. He's wearing a trucker hat. This is like hillbilly fucking war
Yeah,
going
he's
on.
at Mar-a-Lago too. You would think if this date was planned out for weeks, which I believe it was, Israel's saying it was, like, wouldn't he want to be at the White House in the Situation Room or whatever, like with all of his top generals and cabinet? No, he's at Mar-a-Lago with Susie Wiles and Marco Rubio. Like that's all that's needed. We'll get into that in a minute because there's major security concerns there. But
It's an
back to
issue.
what you were saying a second ago. This guy's name is John Lyons, and he's the editor for ABC America. But yeah, I think he's from like Australia, maybe. He's from somewhere else, and he goes on shows in Europe all the time. But he's the editor for ABC America, just so you know.
Okay.
Here is him responding to Trump's 8 minute speech, and it's going to hit on exactly what you were just saying.
John, you just watched that almost 8 minute speech from the US president there. What were your main takeaways from what he had to say?
My main impression listening to that is that's Israel's agenda, that's Israel's talking points, not the United States. That same president said that he obliterated Iran's nuclear program in June, July last year. If they obliterated it then, why is it an imminent threat now? 2 weeks ago, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's Prime Minister, came to Washington with several points beyond the nuclear deal. One of them was ballistic missiles and one of them was Iran's proxies through the region. That's what I'm hearing there now. That speech could have been written and delivered by Benjamin Netanyahu. That is completely different from what Donald Trump's been saying. Only yesterday he said we are negotiating. And they were all looking for a nuclear deal, but there he's talking about 1983 and this and that, and they're bloodthirsty and terror. My main impression is that this is being driven by Israel, and what we just heard was the President of the United States, in my assessment, almost saying word for word, Israel's agenda.
Interesting. Yeah.
100% what you were just saying. I mean that's the other thing that makes you know that this was a ruse. The negotiations were just a show because Trump would tell Fox News that, oh, we're negotiating for the nukes and for or ballistic missiles and short range missiles, and he would add all this stuff on. But then what we were telling them in the meeting is just as about the nukes. Like it's just a nuclear deal. You can't enrich uranium. So it was never clear what we really wanted here, and that's because we didn't really want them to agree to anything. We wanted to attack them. Like I firmly believe that.
Well, Iran is a failing state. Like they're a failing nation. They were talking about moving their capital at one point because they eventually got water, like rain, but they didn't have any water. Their electricity was going out, and like they need some sort of power. So
So
like allowing them to have nuclear power would be a benefit for them and for the world.
And this is really important to get out now, okay? Just like with Venezuela, like Maduro's not a good guy. Like Maduro's a bad guy, and he probably shouldn't have been the head of Venezuela. Like
Sure.
you can think that, and also think that we had no business to do a military operation to kidnap him. Same thing with the Ayatollah Khomeini, I think is his name. Not a good guy. He sponsors terrorists all around the world. Now he's a bad guy, but also the reason that Iran is a failing nation has a lot to do with the sanctions that we have on Iran. Like we're economically punishing Iran, and we have been for. Well, we took a little break from 2014 to 2017 where we didn't, but in general, we've been strangling their economy for a long time. So that's why they're failed.
I mean, we're basically trying to be world police. We're saying,
Yeah.
okay, you're a dictator in Venezuela, you're a dictator in Iran. We're gonna regime change these countries. But at this point, we're a dictator too. So who's gonna regime change us?
That's the thing is now you have three at the top of the pile: Russia, China, and America. And like if we all have a wink nod agreement that like, hey, like remember when I said that the thing a year ago about dividing the world into hemispheres and basically America is going to say, hey, we can do whatever we want here in the Americas. You guys leave us alone. China,
Hmm.
you can do whatever you want over there. We'll leave you alone. And Russia, Eastern Europe's all yours, buddy. Have fun. Like that's the crooked deal that could get made or maybe already has been made. And there'll never be a paper trail. Like it'll be always one of those things where it'll be a wink
Like the
nod.
Epstein files.
Yeah, but it's bad. And then I did want to show you this too on the line of Netanyahu controlling Trump here. Did you see Israel's response right after the first bombs were dropped? What they said?
I don't know. I don't think I did.
I've got a tweet here for you.
Israel has the right to defend itself. What are they defending themselves from? What
It
the
says
fuck?
that's the answer to everything. Israel has a right to defend itself. Well, okay, cool.
I mean, do
That's
you think that Israel seems to have their hands in like everybody's pocket. China, Russia, like they may be the superpower of the world.
so, and that's part of the problem is Russia would love to step in where America was as far as funding Israel, and Israel at different times has kind of let that be known to us. Like, oh, really? You don't want to keep providing us with offensive weapons? I'll bet there's another country that'd be willing to, and then kind of looking over at Russia, saying Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, falling to Russia, where now we don't have a foothold in the Middle East, which this calculus has all changed recently because Trump's making BFFs with Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the UAE and all
Yeah.
that. But forever, Israel was our only foothold over there. So losing that to Russia would mean we've lost the entire Middle East, where the majority of oil in the world comes from. Like you can't do that. So Russia, Israel has almost kind of blackmailed us with the threat of like, well, if you want to do that, then that's fine. We could just go to Russia for a long time. And anyhow.
Oh, that's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's a really weird relationship we have with them. So, and then we've talked a lot about why this happened, but like real quick, have you been keeping your eye online today? Which the news, the mainstream media is not showing us a lot of the damage that's happening all across the Middle East, but
No.
online the videos are flowing. Tel Aviv is taking some hits now. Tel Aviv during the 12-day war, they only shot down like 60% of the rockets that were heading their way. Like a lot got through, and the American media did a good job of hiding that. Like if you don't pay attention online, you didn't really see all the damage that happened in Tel Aviv. This is
Why
happening.
would they do that?
I think that they want the idea of the Golden Dome and America's Patriot missile system and all that. It's indefensible. Nothing gets through. Like that's
You
this
think
weird.
CNN wants the Golden Dome here in America?
Not. It all comes down to like behind all of these networks, there's somebody with a lot of money, and who is that somebody? Where are they
Yeah.
from? What's what's their religion? I don't know. Questions you could ask.
So the Iron Dome doesn't work, but we want to put up a Golden Dome. It's
And that's
going
the
to
thing
cost
is,
us how much
so
money?
Iran realized, I guess during the 12-day war, that like it works really well if you shoot one missile at a time at it. But if you hit it with a barrage, if you swarm it, it can't get them all. So that's what they've learned to do. So you hit it with a lot, it gets through.
And there's something about the drones. They don't pick up drones as well.
Man, so I'll get to the drones in a second. Hold on, let me get through this real quick. But Abu Dhabi, like there's apartment buildings in Abu Dhabi that have drones just going right into the side, big explosions. UAE, Qatar, Jordan, Israel, Tel Aviv, Bahrain. There's
Mhm.
several countries that are taking direct hits, and the videos are all online, but you won't see hardly any of it on regular TV, which is ridiculous. The drones are a special case. Apparently, all of our missile defense systems are like trained to pick up on like missiles that are moving super fast and coming in a certain trajectory, and they identify that really quick as a threat, and they shoot a missile up to take it out.
What has a heat signature?
All kinds of stuff like that. These drones are moving super slow. They have a single prop on the back. They're called the Shahed drones, and Russia has been using the Shahed drones against Ukraine for the past 2 years. Like they are buying their drones from Iran. They've been highly effective, and they don't look like anything special. Honestly, they're kind of big for what they do. They move real slow, but the missile defense systems just don't pick them up. I've got a video here. There's you see like it's a building, but it looks like a white ball, like a golf ball almost. And it's a missile defense system. We just put it in a couple years ago. Apparently This is in Qatar, and it's
Okay.
looking out over the Persian Gulf, and its whole job is to keep all of our biggest air base is in like Doha, Qatar, and this thing is meant to protect our biggest base in that region, and it doesn't pick up drones. Is all I'm going to say. It real quick, you'll see this thing get totally destroyed.
Well, I'm guarantee you it's the heat signature.
It's
Like
something.
a missile has a giant heat signature. A drone, a battery operated drone, has zero heat
Yeah.
signature.
Well,
There's no heat energy coming off of it.
they're saying it's going to cost us about $1 billion to replace this one missile detection system.
Oh,
So,
did it get blown up?
yeah, check this out.
مسيرة اضرب 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 اضرب.
So
Whoa.
there's videos of that now. Like afterward, people went around, and the whole front of it's just blown off. Like that thing's done, it's totaled.
Yeah.
And that thing wasn't moving that fast. What's funny is our military somehow has not learned from what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine was having a problem with those drones because it's hard to shoot those down. And then they learned, oh, just use a machine gun. And there's all kinds of videos of helicopters pulling up alongside those drones with like a door gunner with like a big 50 cal machine gun. And they just pull up and like hit it with a machine gun and it goes down. There's even people on the ground with like assault rifles that shoot those down. That's how you take them down is machine guns. I've seen a million videos of those in the past 2 years. I know that. Somehow our military is like, what do we do? These Shahed drones are just getting through. And it's like, yeah, you shoot them down with a machine gun. That's what you do. Like, that's what Ukraine's been doing, and it's working. Why are we not doing that? So,
Something.
anyhow.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
so
should be easy. If you have eyes on the sky, you should be able to see a drone coming in and shoot it down.
oh, you can hear those coming too. They're loud.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's ridiculous. But here's the problem we're gonna have is I've seen a lot of videos today, and I believe that all the ones I just described to you, I believe are true. I think there's going to be some AI going on in the next couple of days because there's one video that I saw of it was a boat and it was a supply ship supposedly for the American Navy, and it got hit with a missile. And I've watched the video several times, and it's one of those where I don't if one of our boats got hit by a missile, that would have to make the news, right? Like I would see that on CNN or Fox
I mean,
News.
if they're not showing other countries getting hit,
Yeah.
it's
But I'm
kind of
saying,
crazy that they're not like actually reporting the news, like what's actually going on. Because I've been actually watching like Al Jazeera and
okay,
like
I'll bet they're
overseas news.
reporting it.
Yeah, they cover all of this. They're
Mm.
covering who's getting hit, where they're getting hit. And one thing that I've been wanting to I'm wondering, have any of Trump's resorts gotten hit? Because he's got
Ooh,
five or six in the Middle East,
that's interesting. I haven't thought of that yet. Like,
right?
I
Like
don't
if
believe
I
they
was
have.
them, I would just go after all of his resorts.
You really wouldn't because like what are you going to do to a golf course? I mean,
But it's
yeah,
Trump who's starting this war
you
on
make a good
Israel's
point.
behalf, so might as well fucking
You
go
you
after, hit him where it hurts.
you make a good point. But real quick on the whole like AI and misinformation thing. Prime example, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and say I think I believe what happened here, but also I'm open to new evidence. But so there was three strikes right off the bat that were all timed at the same time, okay? They hit the Khomeini, the Ayatollah, the leader of Iran. They hit his house and like two other government buildings right off the bat. They all happen at once.
They're saying
Uh,
he's dead, right?
so this morning, Israel said we're pretty sure we got him, and then in the afternoon, it came out that hey, America thinks that Israel did get him, and then today at one point, Trump tweeted it like this afternoon. This is Saturday afternoon, and it said Khomeini is dead. And then a couple hours later, now every news station is going with it. He is dead. Now, what's weird is all day long, Iran was saying, no, he's alive and he's going to address the nation here shortly. And they kept saying within the hour, and then he never would. And then and in my mind, I was like, why would they lie about this? Because if they killed the supreme leader, who's a religious figure, you would think that would galvanize the country, right? That would make people kind of up in arms. So it made no sense for them to lie about it, but I think they were. It seems like he is dead. So
I don't think he's that popular. either, though.
I go back and forth on that because people point out like, oh, there's hundreds of thousands in the streets. Well, there's 93 million people in Iran, and even let's say there's a million people that hate his butt. Well, that's 1% basically. I just like here in America, there's divisions in Iran, and half the country likes him and half the country doesn't like him, and it comes down to is which half is bigger, I guess. So I
Right.
don't know that. I'm not there. So, but I know Trump tries to make it seem like the whole country's up in arms and hates him. From people that have been there and are familiar with it, they say no. There's one wing of the country that doesn't like him and one wing that does. And anyhow, just like in a lot of other countries.
So I'm kind of confused as to why Iran is shooting at the EAU.
Because they're shooting at our base at the EAU. Any country that houses American troops is getting hit right now.
Okay, so they're not just hitting. I heard they hit like Abu
They,
Dhabi
they've
pretty
hit a couple
big.
airports. They've hit Abu Dhabi airport, and they've hit a couple apartment buildings. They think that the theory is that those drones, those are the Shahed drones, and they're just cruising. And it turns out there's an apartment in their way of where they're trying to get to. I know that sounds like somebody's making excuses for Iran, but they've gone out of their way to not target civilians for the most part, and then
Okay.
suddenly a couple. So I don't know if I buy that or not, but
Well,
that's what.
here's the thing. I was listening to somebody earlier, and they were talking about how like we have these bases across the world, right?
Mm,
And the reason we have these bases is to keep those countries safe. But when
no.
Iran first struck us a little while back, they warned us, and we pulled all of our military and of our all of our people out, and they struck, right?
So I gotta say, I think that fundamentally you're not correct on this. I don't think anybody thinks that we have these bases there to protect these countries. That's if anything, it makes them a target for people that hate America. And now they're like, especially in the Middle East, having an American military base in your country in the Middle East, like that makes that country a target more than anything. Like this isn't good for them. They're doing it for money. Like we provide them with money most likely for the
It
bases
makes
there.
them a target now, but before we were there to protect the region, basically. We got something out of it, and they got something out of it. But now, with Trump in office, it makes them a target.
I disagree on that. I think that
You
it's
think it's
never
always
been.
made them a target? Has
Yeah,
our military bases been hit before?
most of these countries that have allowed our military bases in, like their citizens are really mad about it. Like their government has made a deal and their citizens are pissed that they now have an American military base in their country.
Right, but their government is making a deal with the U.S. Hey, you can have this land for your military base, but you have to protect us in these circumstances. And in regards, we'll give you the military base to protect yourselves in the region as well.
I've never heard it that way before. I don't know where you've gotten that information. That's not the way it's ever been put to me. That's all I'm going to say.
So then, what are the leaders of these other countries? Why are they allowing us to put the military bases there?
Often we strong arm them into doing it, but then we offer them some kind of an economic incentive for us to do it.
What's the economic incentive?
I have no clue.
Lower tariffs?
Yeah, well, before it wasn't tariffs, now it might be. But yeah, like, and a lot of these countries would rather we not be there. We sign leases that are like 50 and 75-year leases to have a base there, and then they're
Okay.
stuck with that. Like, we have a base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Cuba hates us. Well,
Oh, yeah.
we signed a 100-year lease with Cuba back, I don't know how long ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
that is ours. So anyhow, back to what I was trying to say here real quick. AI and misinformation. This is
You're on a
something we have to.
roll tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying so hard to get to this one point. You keep going somewhere else with it. We had the three strikes right off the bat in Tehran that supposedly killed the Supreme Leader. Right after that, we had a second wave come through. They hit a school, and the town starts with an M, and I can't remember what it was, but they hit a school. It's about 1,500 miles south of Tehran. It was an all-girls school, apparently. I think I've seen the latest numbers with 108 casualties, and like 90 of them were elementary student girls, and then like 18 teachers. So we flattened a school, us or Israel. I don't know who hit it, but somebody flattened it. Not long after that news broke, there started being pictures of like a vapor trail from a rocket going up, and it made it look like the rocket failed and did a U-turn and came right back down. And certain MAGA people, Clay Travis, the sports guy, was one of them, but they were like, "Oh, the mainstream media is on Iran's side, and they're lying. We didn't hit that base. Their own rocket misfired and hit that base." And I was like, "Oh, really? Like, what's going on here?" So I was looking into it all day, and people use like geolocation data on the photo, and the photo that's being supplied is not, I thought it was AI at first, but it's not. It's just from like 3 years ago in a completely different country. It's not from there. It seems like there's no evidence, but the MAGA people online were like, "Oh, we blew up a school. That's bad." And then they see a glimmer of hope, like, "Hold on, wait, no, it was a misfire." And now they're clinging to that, and that's a big battle going on Twitter right now. Is some people are saying, "Hey, we hit a school and killed 100 school kids," and MAGA is saying, "No, you idiot, you're such a sheep. That was a misfire by Iran. Look at this picture." Which that picture has already been debunked. That's not from there. It's from
Fucking Clay Travis, that fucking moron.
it's several of them. Laura Loomer, I think, was the first to go with it, but
That fucking
then they all
bitch.
piled on. And now, I want to say for like 7 or 8 hours now, it's been pretty conclusive that no, that picture is not. It's not. There's snow-covered mountains in the background, and where this city is, there are no snow-covered mountains in the background. So, but that's not going to stop them. They have their story, and they're sticking to it. And this was a misfire by Iran.
This is the problem with, like, it's okay to just lie outright
But
and stick to your story even when you're caught.
true, but I think there's like right now, in my opinion, the right has been deceived by somebody online that's trying to, it's telling them what they want to hear, but it's giving them a version of this. I think it's probably going to happen a lot in the next couple of days where the left and the right are going to get fooled by some stuff they see on Twitter. I just think that's the reality of where we are. For no good reason, people are going to make some AI images or some AI videos of an aircraft carrier getting blown up or something, and we're going to see it and we're going to go, "Oh my God," and then it's going to turn out it's not real. We have to be very aware of that.
Right. Huh.
Yeah, it's scary. Another fun thing that I just thought of. This is no way for the winner of the FIFA Peace Prize to act. Okay.
Yes.
But where is the Board of Peace? Isn't the Board of Peace supposed to be stopping this?
This is not peaceful. This is not peaceful at all.
The Board of Peace has failed us. And the FIFA Peace Prize winner, on average, has attacked one country a month since receiving the FIFA Peace Prize.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's where we're
Okay.
at.
Is Israel on the Board of Peace?
Yes, they are. Israel's on the Board of Peace.
Okay. Who all has Iran attacked at this point?
It's all let's see here. It's
EAU.
Israel, Jordan, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Qatar,
EAU.
the EAU. I'm probably missing some. Kuwait. Did I say Kuwait?
They hit bombed Kuwait too.
Yeah. Well, everywhere they've bombed all of our air bases.
Okay, so they're just bombing U.S. airbase. So it's basically
Yeah.
the U.S., but okay.
Yeah, but like I said, there have been they hit some airports, and then they hit like 2 apartment buildings. They claim that's not the target, but they have
Yeah.
hit 2 apartment buildings. So
Okay.
anyhow,
Interesting.
or-
Have
real-
none of these other countries have attacked back?
no, but
Okay.
we're doing it on their behalf. Like we're still bombing, we're still hitting them, and they're still hitting us. A lot of people are already taking a victory lap right now, and they're like, "Oh, look, we took out the supreme leader, and everything's good. This is just like Venezuela. We're good. This isn't going to be a long war, dude. This ain't anywhere close to over, and it might not go much longer. I'm just telling you right now. So the problem is the thing back in World War II, they would always say like, well, like we could take out Hitler." But if we take out Hitler, whoever replaces him could be even worse. That was a big thing. And with Khomeini, it's been the same thing. Is people the speculation has been if him and his right hand man get taken out, somebody from the IRGC would step up. And the IRGC is like the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, something along those lines. But it's the hardliners. And
Okay.
that's always been the theory is if you take him out, one of them is going to ascend to the top, and they're going to be more militaristic than he was, theoretically. Who knows? Maybe that won't happen. That's been what's thought. But just tonight, Iran, they said Iran's Revolutionary Guard is now threatening the heaviest offensive operations in the history of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic towards Israel and the U.S. military bases in the region. That was an hour ago. That was 9 p.m. Sunday night that they said that. So they're still threatening the worst is yet to come from them, pretty much. So, and
Okay.
who knows? Maybe we'll get through the next week. And it'll be 7 or 8 days of us bombing them and them trying to get us. And there's some military bases hit. No Americans die. And this all just ends. Maybe. I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe.
Well, you kind of brushed past like Tel Aviv getting hit, but what I saw was pretty bad. It looked like Tel Aviv was getting like
Yeah.
slammed with missiles.
So far, it's not as bad as the 12-day war back in the summer. Tel Aviv got jacked up during that, but so far it's not to that level. But we're only on night one, and Iran just promised the heaviest offensive is yet to come. So yeah, I mean this could get bad.
So on this level, like, when do the Israelis start turning against Netanyahu?
Never. They in both countries, in Israel and Iran, both countries have their people conditioned. Like they've Israel firmly believes that all Iranians want them dead and wiped off the face of the earth, and therefore we have to wipe them off the face of the earth, and vice versa. Iran believes that about Israel. Like the people, like that's the thing. Whoever you put in charge of Iran, like the people still are going to hate Israel. Like the hate, and maybe they won't do as much, but like it's not like they're suddenly Israel and Iran are going to be friends. Like the people hate each other. It's not the leaders, it's the people.
Yeah, I pulled a video and I'll bring it up next time, but I was watching something about Netanyahu saying that he wanted to put up education camps in Gaza.
Yeah, that's scary. Also, as part of
I
all
mean,
this, I don't know how this happens, but as part of all this going on, Israel has reshut the borders. Like there's one border crossing to Gaza that had been opened. It's like the Rafah crossing into Egypt, and
uh-huh.
that is now closed again. So Gaza is now sealed off while this war with Iran happens.
So,
I,
oh,
I don't know
yeah.
what one has to do with the other, but they do. They're linked
Well,
somehow.
that's another thing that Israel wanted. Israel just kind of gets what they want, don't they? This is kind of weird. I'm I'm very skeptical about Israel at this point.
It's so
And
hard not
the
to be.
fact that Mike Huckabee is like, he literally said that Israel should take all of
Just
uh the
from the
Middle
Eu
East.
from the Euphrates to the Nile, I think is what it's what they say the Bible says. And Tucker Carlson was like, "So you think they should be able to have that?" And Huckabee tried to not answer a couple times, and Tucker did a good job. Tucker wouldn't let him get off of that, and finally he was like, "Well, yeah, if they can take it, it's theirs," or he says something like that. And then the U.S. and Mike Huckabee had to apologize the next day to every Islamic nation in the Middle East. Pretty much, they were all pissed about it. So anyhow, yeah. So
Okay.
where we're at. Real quick, I want to bring this up for fun, but do you remember that Tulsi Gabbard was big into the no new wars and especially don't attack Iran? At
Yeah.
one point, she was selling shirts that said no war with Iran.
Oh, I
Uh,
didn't know that.
yeah, I was leading up to 2020, so just just funny that I wanted to get through real quick. Also, real quick, you know how Trump didn't try to justify the war in advance. Like he didn't try to sell it to us like like normally a president would lie to us and try to convince us that this is necessary.
Right.
Trump didn't really put a lot into it, but he now that we've done it, he's going back and trying to sell us a little bit on it. So there's a couple different reasons why we're doing this. Okay. So Trump tweeted this last night in the middle of the night, shortly after his speech. He said Iran tried to interfere in the 2020 and 24 elections to stop Trump and now faces a renewed war with the United States. So he retruthed this. But so now he's claiming that Iran tried to interfere in the election, which a lot of people are now saying, like, oh, he's going to try to use this as a justification to mess with the midterms coming up. Because now the war with Iran is tied to elections in Trump's brain. Is he going to try to use so that I don't know, but that's one thing people are saying.
Huh, how would he do that? How would he do that? Would he
All he's got to do is declare a national emergency, and he can basically do whatever he wants. And the thing is, his national emergency has to be justified, and basically, it's going to come down like a judge has to. The Supreme Court's going to have to agree. And if he can make a point that our elections are under attack, this whole Iran thing ties into the elections, then that's a better argument than any other argument he has. It's still not a good one, but
Hmm.
it's the best that he has, maybe.
Did you see what they did in Kansas?
No, they do.
They are revoking everybody's driver's license IDs that are not male female. So if you have like
Saw that.
other or
Yeah.
whatever, they're pulling your ID so that you have to go and get a new one leading up to this election at this point.
So
So
on the election note, remember when we looked at that list or the map of the states that have complied with the Justice Department and sent all their voter info in? Texas is one of the states that they sent in the voter registration data, driver's license, social security number, like all the info. There was only a few states that did it. And I remember I was shocked at the time that Oklahoma didn't do that. Oklahoma gave up publicly available voter roll information, but wouldn't give anything more. And now the federal government is suing. The DOJ is suing the state of Oklahoma because they didn't give all the information requested. And our governor, he's very, very, very Republican, and he's standing up to them. And he's like, no, we're going to fight this out in court. We're not letting the federal government have our information of our citizens, which, wow, like Governor Stitt is not a good dude, but I'm glad he's sticking up for us on this one.
Well, I was listening to I think it was Mark Elias. It was one of the big lawyers who stands up against Trump, and he was talking about how when you go up against the DOJ, as a lawyer, you're kind of scared usually. But now with Trump and his DOJ, it's kind of a laughingstock. Like you have a chance to win this thing.
So the reason the DOJ forever, like they wouldn't bring a case unless they were sure they could win it, because it's embarrassing for the government to lose a case. So they had very high standards, and now they're losing to grand juries. Like grand juries are refusing to indict people. Like that never happens. So yeah, our DOJ is suddenly very beatable.
I'm looking up how many DOJ cases they've lost.
Cases is the wrong word, because the most embarrassing stuff is they failed to secure an indictment from a grand jury. Like that's what keeps happening. That never happens, but that's been happening to them.
This says, since returning to office in 2025, the Trump administration's Department of Justice has faced significant legal setbacks, with over 200 instances of federal courts blocking or halting demonstration politics by May 2025. Courts have questioned government compliance in over 20 cases, and at least 55 civil rights cases were dismissed, closed, or reversed.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
The Trump supporters would say the courts are against Trump. No other president has had this much pushback from the judges. But also you could say no other president has done this much illegal stuff, needing the judges to step in and tell him he can't do it. So anyhow, back to what I was saying a second ago. The second thing the Trump administration is now putting out to justify this attack. Scott Jennings was the first. Apparently, they leaked this to a bunch of their media influencers. Scott Jennings goes on CNN all the time. He was in the first Trump administration, but he said tonight on Twitter, senior Trump administration officials telling me that credible intelligence indicated Iran planned preemptive missile strikes against U.S. military targets in the region and against civilian targets as well. Failure to act would have resulted in mass U.S. casualties. So they're now saying that, oh no, we have credible sources that Iran was about to do a preemptive attack on us. So let
me guess where those credible sources came from.
Who?
Oh, Israel.
Probably, yeah. Israel probably just called Trump and said, hey, it looks like they're about to attack. We better attack them first. So
yeah,
we did a preemptive attack to get in front of their preemptive attack is the way we're setting it up now. So
yeah,
I don't buy any of that, but that's just where we're at. The other real quick, that since Trump wasn't in Mar-a-Lago, or since he wasn't in the White House, he was at Mar-a-Lago. I don't even remember when we saw pictures of the Venezuela raid, like he was in a big room where they had like black, like see-through cloths making a small room out of a bigger room, but you could like see through it. It's not soundproof. He's supposed to be in a SCIF, a secured room. Now, normally when you go into a SCIF in the White House or in the Pentagon or anywhere, like you have to check your phone, any smart device you have. If you have an Apple Watch, you have to check it. Nothing goes into that room. And it's because we know that other countries can listen to us through our Apple products, okay? So, again, Trump there's all kinds of pictures of him from last night, and he's in that same little makeshift room. The lack of security is wild. But everybody noticed Susie Wiles is there with him, and you can see clearly on her wrist, is wearing an Apple Watch while they're going through this strike. From what a lot of people that know about this stuff, they said, okay, so everything that we were saying during this strike, China has heard, like almost for sure. Like, if you don't think that the president's chief of staff wearing Apple products and China's not attempted to get in and most likely gotten into that,
what could China take away from that?
Well, if they were listening the whole time live and they were listening to the fact that, oh my God, America's about to strike Iran, they could have given Iran a heads up. Or maybe they maybe they're listening just to understand our thought process and hear the debate, the back and forth.
I don't know if anybody can understand Trump's thought process, but
He's erratic.
also, like you'd think that with technology the way it is now, like a skiff is kind of old school, and maybe there's like a tech guy, a crew of tech people who are constantly surveilling Trump's phone and JD Vance's phone and Susie Wiles' phone and watch and like just constantly surveilling it, making sure. And if somebody is picking it up, they can like block it or pick up their signal or whatever, however it works.
If we have some kind of technology like that, that'd be awesome. I don't know that that's true, but also I'm going to disagree with you hardcore on this. Like, because of technology advancing, it's not like the skiff is becoming outdated and obsolete right now. Like, if anything, the importance of a skiff is getting more and more important with all the different ways people can spy on us through our devices. Like, there's a room, and from what I understand, these skiffs are designed to where like signals cannot get in and out. Like, if you took your cell phone in, you wouldn't be able to make a call because of
Yeah.
stuff in the walls or whatever. But you leave everything outside and you go into a secure room where the walls have some kind of barrier on them, and it's just me and you talking. Like there's no electronics in here. It's like the ultimate. Like we need that going forward as the ability to spy through different devices gets more and more prevalent. Like we
Okay.
need that secure room. So having that at our disposal and not using it, using a ballroom at Mar-a-Lago instead,
Probably
awesome.
not great.
I
Probably
mean,
not great.
one of the pictures, Trump's in there talking to his people, and somebody's right behind, like not about 10 feet behind Trump, but in the picture, he's right behind him, and he's just pulling the curtain around and sticking his head in, like talking to people or whatever. But it's like, who's that guy? Like, somebody just popped their head in the secure tent? Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? Anyhow, that the
How
worst
many
part
more days do we have?
of Trump, 200 and, or sorry, not 200, 2 years, 2 years, 330, something like that.
Less than that. 300 because we're
365
we're
days in a
March.
year.
We're March.
No, so yeah, it's right now it's February 28th. So
So
I'm off.
3.
I'm off by 3 days.
Yeah.
Two
About
years.
about
2 years.
303.
2 years. 327 days. That's about where we're at. So
uh,
anyhow, the worst part of this plan, just so you know, now, and I'm hoping that we're not really going to try to do this. When we did the Venezuela thing, everybody thought that obviously we were going to install that one woman that had won the Nobel Peace Prize,
yeah.
and that wasn't going to work. It seemed very clear that that wouldn't work, and luckily we decided not to do that. So let's see. Everybody has been saying that we're going to try to install the Shah's son, and Trump's even kind of he's had him to the White House a couple times, and it seems like that's the plan.
The Shaw.
So I'm going to give you a quick history lesson on Iran. Okay, Iran was part of the Ottoman Empire way back in the day.
Sure.
After World War One, the Ottoman Empire got broken up. There was a coup basically in 1953, and the Shah came to power. Now it was a coup d'état. The coup d'état was heavily backed and influenced by Britain and America. Okay, so the leader of that country we didn't like. We helped an uprising in that country and helped to install someone who would be very friendly to the West. His name was what was his name? Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, something along those lines. I probably just butchered that, but he was known as the Shah. And at one point, he named himself the King of Kings. I can't remember how you say it in Islamic, but or whatever the religion is.
He was like
Not the
the
religion. The I can't say that.
he was like the Jeffrey Epstein of the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, no, but he was like your typical king back then. Like he wore very fancy gold-plated outfits. He had a family. Now, what he did though is immediately when he got into power, he nationalized the oil. So the government took control of all the oil in the ground, and because he was friendly to the West, he made really awesome deals with America and Britain to where they paid very little for the oil, and the money they did get for it, it was almost like the modern day Russian oligarchy, but like previous, like it was before that ever happened. But like there were certain people around him that did quite well. And if you lived in downtown Tehran, like you were doing pretty good. But if you lived anywhere outside of there, it was poor, famine, it was bad. Okay. So there was an uprising. He was in charge of Iran from 1953 to 1979. Okay, in the 70s things started getting real bad for most people in Iran, and they had an Islamic resolution. And the guy that's the leader now, Khomeini, he took over in 79. So that how many years ago is that? 45 years ago? 46 years ago? Anyhow,
Okay.
he took over in 79. The Shah got exiled. He got run out of town. He ended up going to Egypt, and he ended up dying in Egypt. And like, it wasn't long after he got exiled. It was 2 or 3 years after he got exiled. He died in Egypt. Um, he had a son that was born and lived in Tehran till he was 12. So the Shah got exiled, took his family with him, his 12-year-old son. That 12-year-old son lived in Egypt for a while, and then he spent the last 40 plus years in America. Um, I wish I could remember his name, but he's the Shah's son, and
He went to school with one of Trump's sons.
very possibly. But he's been heavy in the kind of political agenda or political arena recently, and he's been really pushing for America to push for a regime change war in Iran. Um, Trump has floated a couple times that like, well, the Shah is the rightful person to run that country, so the Shah's son should be the one to take over. Um, the worst thing America could do right now is try
Hold
to.
on, hold on, hold
Go
on,
ahead.
hold on. Trump in his infinite wisdom and his infinite thought process is thinking that because the Shah is the rightful heir to the throne, his son should take over.
Yes.
So is he thinking that since he is the king now, his rightful heir should take over? Like maybe Don or Eric.
I see where you're going with this, and probably, I'll just say. Um, but and that's kind of the thing. It's like the Shah might translate to king. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but like the Shah was almost royalty, okay?
Okay.
And so and it's not just Trump that thinks this. Okay, I want to make that clear. A lot of Republicans have
A
this
lot of
belief that
Republicans.
that like the Shah is the rightful person that should be leading the country because he is dead. Clearly, his son, the prince, should be the one to take over. Um,
Okay.
there's a whole lot of different ways that all this could go. It'd be awesome if we could just let Iran vote in like a democracy and pick their next leader. If we try to install the Shah's son as the head, and the reason we would do that is because he would then be nice to America, and it'd be kind of like what we got going on with Venezuela. Suddenly, we'd be getting oil on the cheap. Okay,
Or on
first
the
of all,
steal, on the free.
yeah, 100%. The people there do not want this, and then on top of that, China and Russia are heavily invested in Iran, and I don't think they're going to like put boots on the ground to protect it or anything. But also, they're not going to let it go without putting up a bit of a fight in one way or another. This
Yeah.
is not
Yeah,
going to
I
go
actually
well.
looked that up. It was Iran's alliances. I was looking it up. They are proxy network, Hezbollah, Lebanon, Houthi movement in Yemen, various militias in Iraq. Um,
Hamas is a big one, you got to say.
yeah, Hamas. Iran maintains a strategic partnership with Russia and close proximity relations with China,
Mhm.
alongside developing ties with other Central Asian nations. So, like, Russia and China have been our two biggest adversaries for a long time.
Yes.
And they are buddies with both of them, and now we're kind of picking a fight with Russia and China's buddy.
So, and here's the way you need to look at it. Okay, in Vietnam, Russia was supporting the North Vietnamese, the Viet Cong, but like they didn't really want them to win the war. Like their whole goal was to make this as drawn out and long and painful as possible. For very little money, they could keep supplying the North Vietnamese with ammunition, and it would cause problems back home because our young men are going overseas to die. It's a
Yeah.
lot of money. It's demoralizing for a nation. So they did that to us. And then we learned from that and we did that to them in Afghanistan. Like we supplied the Mujahideen with weaponry and like our goal was never really to win it. It was to make it long and drawn out and painful. Like you're totally using the people of that country. Like we were using their fighters. Now, a lot of people say that's what we're trying to do in Ukraine these days. Like, we're not really giving Ukraine what they need to win the war. We're trying to make this painful as heck as we can. So
Just
that
to weaken Russia.
that's how these things tend to go. It's a proxy war, and you're not really trying to win, you're trying to hurt the other side. So, using that logic, whatever's going to happen here going forward, it would make a lot of sense that China and Russia would now try to do that with us as far as Iran goes. And hopefully, we're smart enough to know that and not try to like just hit him and get out. That'd be the smartest thing that could happen here is hit him and get out. Now, if you do that, whoever's going to rise to power behind Khomeini or behind Khomeini is probably going to be equally as bad for us. Like it's not going to be good.
I mean, how many billions of dollars has Iran just destroyed of American dollars at this point? Like with our bases.
Oh, I don't, it's a lot. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see what the total cost of this, because every bomb we drop, every cruise missile we send, we lost a like a $2 million drone the other day that apparently like
2
Iran.
million?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a surveillance drone flying over the Persian Gulf, and apparently it looks like Iran used some kind of a deal to like steal the signal, and we never found it. Like we think that they stole the signal and then like brought it in for a landing in Iran so they could have it. That's being speculated. We can't prove that, but that's what we think happened to it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that
Um,
radar that I showed you the video of in Qatar, like they're saying it's going to cost up to $1 billion to replace that. That's crazy. I don't know how that works, but that's what people say.
all right, here we go. I got numbers for you.
Okay.
Daily operational costs. Current U.S. military deployments in the region against Iran are estimated to cost approximately $30 million to $40 million per day.
That's honestly
Operational
less than I would have thought. With all the missiles we're shooting.
30 million to 40 million per day.
Yeah.
Um, Recent U.S. airstrikes are estimated to have cost taxpayers over 200 million in direct one-time expenses. So the 200 million is
Yeah. Spread
what
out.
it's cost us so far. This is our taxpayer dollars going to a war that nobody wants to be in. Does anybody want to be in this?
Hey, here's the thing, Docs. Being the leader of a country means you got to make some hard decisions. You can either attack Iran or give people health care, but you can't do both. Okay. And we all know which one's more important.
Total post October 7th spending. Since October 7th, 2023, the US has spent nearly 34 billion on conflicts involving Iran, aligned groups Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, which includes 22 billion for Israel. So we've given Israel 22 billion and 12 billion for other military actions.
Yeah.
We have given Israel $22 billion in less than 3 years, in 2.5 years.
I'm not shocked. So, and that's what you brought up a good point a minute ago about their proxies in the region, because like Hamas and Hezbollah are the two that we always hear about because they're directly in conflict with Israel all the time.
Right.
And Hamas is in the south, Hezbollah is in the north in Lebanon, but they're the same. The Houthis have been quiet for a while. Like we struck the Houthis at one point over the summer. They were
Because they
shooting
were holding up a port, right?
Yeah, so
Like a strait?
the Strait of Hormuz, I think I mentioned earlier, but that's where like
Yep.
25% of the world's oil flows through.
Yeah.
And like Iran has said that that's shut down now. They're not letting anybody come in and out of there. That's going to cause the stock market problems. It's going to cause gas prices to go up. But the Houthis are going to be instrumental in keeping that closed down. First of all, Iran probably has already mined it. It's not very wide, and they have like sea mines that they can put in. So once they mine it, that's a minefield, and you wouldn't dare take your ship through there. If they've already mined it, it's one of those where it's going to take weeks, if not months, where we have to get the area secure. Then we have to go in and like diffuse all those mines. So it's not anything we can clean up in a day. The Houthis, though, that's where they always mess with everything. If you remember, they shot a missile at one of our aircraft carriers last summer, and the aircraft carrier had to do like a quick turn, and a couple jets fell off the aircraft carrier. I mean, you remember that whole story?
I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah. So if the Houthis get involved in trying to close down that strait right there, like that's their biggest flex right now, is if they close down the Strait of Hormuz, it causes worldwide problems in an election year when the economy's already a problem. Like, they know that. The economy is a problem for Trump, and their one way to really put pressure on Trump is to close down that strait and make our economy go further south.
I think you might be right, man. This is all an Epstein thing. He's trying to cover this Epstein thing up. And he cares about the upcoming elections. But if the Epstein stuff comes out, he's done for. This comes out, he's still got a little bit of a chance. So he's hedging his bet. We'll go to war. We'll make gas prices higher. Everybody's going to feel the pain on inflation and gas prices. But I get exonerated in the Epstein files.
So here's the thing. I still say that I wouldn't be shocked at all if it turns out that there's nothing in the Epstein files about Trump diddling kids. But I think it's
No,
likely.
there is. Hold on. There is. They're saying that
Nothing
there's
true.
a whole section that has been redacted of a testimony of a girl saying that she was raped by Trump when she was underage.
They interviewed her 4 times, and all 4 of those interviews are missing. Also, from what we know about that story, though, it seems like that might not have been credible. I'll say, but the fact that Trump tried to hide it no matter what, because even though it turned like the way they probably looked at it is they interviewed her 4 times, and it turns out there's big holes in her story, dates that don't match up, different things like that. But they should have
She
just
was
put it.
14. How do dates match up when you're 14?
I've watched a couple things about this particular girl and these interviews, and it seems I'm just gonna say it seems like there's some holes in the story. I would love nothing more than to tell you that they got him, but I'm just telling you right now.
No, I didn't say they got him, but send me that. Send me those.
I will send it to you. But what I'm saying is just because wow, the FBI interviewed somebody 4 times, that's a big deal. And if we had that in the files, that would have been bad for Trump even if it's not true, it would have been bad. They should have released it, but they didn't. And that's where the cover-up's always what gets you in trouble. That's what happened with Nixon and Watergate, and the fact that they got caught trying to cover it up is bad. But here's the deal. I don't think it's all the Epstein files. I think it's 90% Israel forced our hand here. Like, and what now?
Through the Epstein files.
That could, but it's probably a lot of things. I think
A lot of things. Okay.
I'm
yeah,
starting to
a
hit the
lot.
point where I think that Israel has everything you could imagine as far as dirt on all our different people because they have so much control.
Well, it's not only dirt, but it's money given to other people. Like, how much
Yep.
money is Mike Huckabee getting from Israel every month?
A lot, I'm sure. All of them are. So yeah, but I think it's 90% Israel. Israel told us to do this, and we're going to do it. And then I think it's 10% like this would help change the subject from a couple things that are not going well for me in the news right now.
Yeah,
That's what I think it is.
a lot of things.
Yeah. So it's an easy distraction.
But it also really, like he said, no new wars. His supporters were all about no new wars, and now we're going to another new war under Trump.
This all comes down to how the next week or two play out. Because if he gets in and out of this like the 12-day war, or like it's not going to be like Venezuela where it's literally over in one night. But if 2 weeks from now it's over and we didn't suffer any heavy losses, Israel's going to get hit. But like the 12-day war, Tel Aviv got jacked up, and then he pretty much skated after that. Like he was good to go after that. So if he can somehow make that happen again here, he's going to skate through this. The problem is, it seems like Iran doesn't want to let this end. Like, and if it does end, they're going to immediately put somebody else in power. Like tonight, there's all kinds of videos in Tehran. There's thousands of people in the streets chanting "Death to America" in Tehran right now. Like they're very upset that their supreme leader got killed. So this ain't over. But if Trump can find a way to limit this to a week or two, and then it's just done and nothing bad ever happened, he'll be okay.
Man, dude, so when you called me what was it last night?
Yeah.
When we went to war. You called me, we talked. I hadn't seen anything. I was watching something totally different. And I was like, okay, let me look at this. I was about to go to bed. I watched a few videos. I was like, oh shit, this is really happening. We're going to war. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed, laid down. My mind just started going 90 miles an hour about like, okay, what do we do? Because there's a lot of talks about nuclear warfare going on too. There's a lot of
Uh,
talks, but my
yeah.
mind went that place. It went there, and I was like, if there's a nuclear missile happening, what do we do? And I'm like, I gotta like, I'm in Colorado.
Mhm.
This is a big place for like interballistic missiles, nuclear missiles, and
NORAD, right?
they're kind of spread across the country, but like Colorado, Cheyenne, Wyoming's a big place. Like they're
Well,
all around here.
you've got NORAD there, which is like that's one of the first targets any country is going to try to hit is NORAD.
Big
So
time.
yeah, so let me just say this: there's people that I agree with them in general on Ukraine, Iran, whatever, but then they take it a step further and they're like, Trump's about to start World War III, and I'm just like, like I don't see, and a lot of people are like, this could spiral out of control to be World War. I don't see that happening. Like, what would have to happen is Israel, or not Israel, China or Russia would have to
hmm
step in and say, hey, we're willing to go to war with you over Iran. And it doesn't seem like they are. I'm just saying.
Well, here's the thing is I don't I wouldn't put it past, at this point, I wouldn't put it past Israel to fire a nuclear missile at somebody.
And there was reporting that when Trump was saying, I don't know if we want to do this or not, Israel was like, okay, but if you don't help us, we're gonna have to hit him with a nuke. And
Boom.
that made Trump go, well, hold on. I don't know if I believe that or not, but that's one of the things being reported.
Exactly. And that's what I heard, and I was like, oh shit. Like nobody talks about nukes before Trump.
Because we all we
Now,
all we all thought nobody was dumb enough to use them. And then Trump came in and started doing the whole. Remember back in his first term when he was getting into Twitter fights with Kim Jong Un and doing the whole like my big red button's bigger than yours crap.
mhm.
Like
But Trump's big red button is Diet Coke.
that's true. I'm just saying like that up until then nobody was really threatening nuclear war, and then Trump and Kim Jong Un did, and then yeah, it seems like it's been like we're suddenly kind of just openly talking about like, well, what about the nukes? Like we didn't do that for a while before that.
For a long time because we
Yeah,
saw what happened.
we knew better. We knew it was the theory of mutual destruction. Nobody's going to fire them because if one person fires them, that means we all die. So nobody's going to do it. And now Trump, one of the things that the MAGA people say is they're like, oh, the reason Trump's good with like foreign stuff is because you never know what he's going to do. He's a wild card. And it's like, well, that's kind of scary when nukes are involved.
Fucking real scary when they
Yeah. So, yeah.
fuck dude.
All right. You got anything else to say on the war?
No,
Okay.
that's it, man.
Well, let's.
Hey, peace, love. Let's get out of this. Like and subscribe.
Everybody write a letter to the Board of Peace and ask them to intervene here. Okay.
Oh, the Board of Peace. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's what
call
we do.
them tomorrow.
And
Is there a phone
write.
number for the Board of
I
Peace?
doubt it. I don't think that there's a contact info on them.
That would be great. Dude, can I not get a hold of them? Hold on.
You know what we could do is we could write letters. We could do a letter writing campaign to the FIFA about the FIFA Peace Prize and say that they need to take back their Peace Prize because the guy that has it keeps bombing other countries.
Board of Peace contact info. Let's see. I don't see anything. No direct public contact info
Yeah.
provided.
They're
Huh.
not really about that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, all right, let's see. Here's what I want to end with is we'll find out in the next week or two. But is this going to be a 12-day war and it's over, or is this going to be something going on 3 months from now? That's what this all hinges on for Trump. And Trump doesn't want it to be something going on 3 months from now. But
Dude,
can he get in and out?
I
He
think I
killed.
mentioned this in our first ever podcast. I mentioned this. Like, whatever happened to the idea of world peace?
It's
Did
done.
it die with John Lennon? John Lennon might have been the last fucking human alive talking about world peace.
I want to end with this real quick.
President Trump is ending the forever war that Iran has waged against America for the last 47 years.
Yeah. So this is what they're spinning this is this is how you get world peace. You got to go to war to bring about world peace. That's how they're spinning it. I'm just letting you know.
Bullshit.
Get ready to hear that a lot in the next week. This is about ending the forever wars. Iran was a forever war. We're ending.
I can already hear Gutfeld and Jesse Waters talking about this.
Yep.
He's starting a war to get peace. Oh, fuck you.
The war for peace in the Middle
Yeah,
East.
and you just bombed what 40 underage children?
No, it was like 100. It was 90, I think. 90 is the final
90.
count. Yeah.
90
100.
in a camp.
It was 108 total, but like 18 of them were teachers, apparently.
Oh, so 90 children murdered
Yeah.
for
But
peace. For peace.
depending on what you see online, that might have been a misfire by Iran. I don't know.
90 children murdered for peace.
Yep.
Yay.
So you got to do. Sometimes you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, and Iran is the egg in this case. But in the long run, it's going to bring world peace. That's the talking point from the GOP. Get ready to hear it a lot.
Brother, I
Yep.
love you. I love everybody. Peace,
Have a
love,
good-
harmony. Let's stop these wars. Let's spread the love message of peace and harmony throughout the world.
I love it. Have a good night, brother.
Bye.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.